People say silence means nothing is there. But what if silence is the sound of something waiting for you? I was 32 years old when I realized that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of something waiting to be heard. I learned this in a house no one visited anymore. The house stood at the edge of a town that had learned to look away. It was not dramatic in its decay, no broken towers or clawing vines, just a quiet, deliberate abandonment, like a sentence left unfinished. Its windows were intact, though clouded with dust. Its doors still locked, though no one remembered the key. People said the house was empty. They were wrong. I didn't come looking for ghosts. I came because my life had begun to feel like an echo. Every day repeating the same questions, none of them answered. I was a psychologist by training, a listener by profession, and yet I had stopped listening to myself. When my father died, leaving behind only a box of unsent letters and a name I didn't recognize, I felt something loosen inside me. The letters mentioned a place, an address, this house. So I drove. The road narrowed as I approached, the trees leaning inward like curious witnesses. My phone lost signal first, then purpose. When I stopped the car, the engine ticked as it cooled, and for a moment I considered turning back. Instead, I stepped out. The air around the house felt heavier, not colder, denser, as if it carried memory the way humidity carries rain. I touched the door. The wood was warmer than I expected. It opened. Inside, the house smelled of dust and old paper. Not rot, not mold. Preservation. The furniture was still arranged, chairs facing one another, as though a conversation had merely paused. A clock hung in the hallway, its hands frozen at 3:17. I called out. My voice sounded inappropriate, like laughter at a funeral. Nothing answered. I explored slowly. Each room felt intentional, curated by absence. In the living room, books lined the shelves: psychology, philosophy, grief studies. Marginal notes filled the pages, written in a careful, familiar hand. My father's. In the kitchen, a cup sat on the table, ringed with the ghost of tea. In the bedroom, the bed was made with clinical precision, and at the end of the hallway, a door stood closed. Unlike the others, this one resisted. I hesitated, then pushed. The room inside was small, windowless, and bare except for a single chair facing the wall. No mirror, no desk, just the chair, and my name, written on the wall in charcoal black letters, as if burned rather than drawn. I stepped back, my pulse rising. This was impossible. My father had never been here. At least that's what he told me. He had spoken of this place as theory, not memory. I sat in the chair. Nothing happened. Minutes passed, or seconds. Time felt unreliable. I stood up, embarrassed by my own expectations. Then the door closed behind me. Not slammed, not locked, simply closed, as if the room had completed a thought. I turned the handle. It opened easily. But when I stepped out, the hallway was different. Longer, the walls stretched further than before, the lights dimmer, the air thicker. The clock was gone. So were the other rooms, only doors now. Dozens of them lined the corridor, each marked with a word: fear, regret, anger, silence, shame, and at the far end, acceptance. I should have left. Instead, I opened the nearest door. Inside was my childhood bedroom, or rather, a memory of it. The same peeling poster, the same unfinished homework on the desk, and my younger self sat on the bed, knees drawn to chest, listening to my parents argue in another room. I felt it then, not fear, but recognition. The door closed behind me. The argument grew louder, sharper. Each word landed with surgical precision. I wanted to intervene, to say what I had never said, but my voice didn't exist here. I was only an observer. When the argument ended, the room faded. I stood again in the hallway. I moved faster now. Door after door opened into moments I had buried with professional efficiency, patience I couldn't save, relationships I ended too carefully, apologies rehearsed but never spoken. Each room took something from me, not memory but certainty. I began to understand. This was not a haunted house. It was a psychological construct made physical, a labyrinth built from repression and avoidance. A house that did not trap bodies but unfinished selves. And my father had built it, or perhaps discovered it. At the end of the corridor, acceptance waited. The door was heavier than the rest. Inside there was no memory, no scene, just a mirror. And my father stood beside me, older than I remembered, tired, real. "I hoped you wouldn't come," he said. "You left me letter," I replied. He nodded. "I needed you to choose," he explained then. The house was not supernatural, but psychological, a rare phenomenon where prolonged isolation, unresolved trauma, and focused introspection could externalize the mind's architecture. A place where people came to confront what they refused to face. "I stayed too long," he said. "I thought understanding was enough." I looked at the mirror. My reflection flickered between ages, expressions, versions of myself I had forgotten. "What happens now?" I asked. "You listen," he said, without trying to fix. The mirror cracked. I woke up in the chair. Sunlight streamed through a window that now existed. The house felt smaller, ordinary. The hallway was normal again. The clock ticked. I left. Months later, my life is quieter, not easier, but honest. I listen differently now, to patience, to pauses, to myself. The house still stands. People still call it empty. But sometimes when the world gets too loud, I remember what my father learned too late. Avoidance does not erase pain. It only teaches it where to hide. And sooner or later, it learns your name.